7:10 p.m. We will start our Town of Frederick meeting. Megan, will you take the roll for us, please?
Trustee Lamach.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March.
Yes.
Mayor Kreitz.
Here.
Trustee Mahan.
Also here.
Trustee Taveldi.
I'm here also.
Trustee Padilla.
Here.
It's
Okay. It means the same thing.
Hey,
It's
we
okay.
voted ourselves in.
Yeah. Okay, let's stand and join each other in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Yes.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. What am I voting on this? How do I feel about this? Yeah, I get that. All right. No changes tonight, correct?
Mayor Kreitz, just an update that I did provide you today via email with an admin report and a clerk's report for the staff report section of your agenda. I will insert those into the public packet following the meeting.
And no special presentations, correct? Correct. All right, public comment. This portion of our agenda is provided to allow members of our audience to provide comments to the town board. Please sign in and I will call you. I do not have anyone signed up for public comment, but if that changes throughout our meeting, you're welcome to just let me know. And I will make an exception for you to provide public comments anytime you'd like. So we'll move into staff reports.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. I know I was a little bit late in getting the admin report out, but a couple of just items to note. We will have embedded in that report the app report that I sent out on Monday. Really good, helpful analytical data in terms of how many issues that are coming to the town of Frederick, the transparency way in which they're being resolved, how quickly they're being resolved, and where. So certainly let us know if you want to see additional information on that, but we'll include that every month as part of it. Other thing is, again, just thanks to the team. Jessica works extremely hard leading up to the event for Chainsaws and Chuck Wagons, as well as after the event. So just a huge kudos to her, as well as Zach, Angela, Renee, the parks team with Colby, the public works team with Kent. Again, it was a great successful event. So we appreciate the team members there. Just another couple of quick items. On August 15th, we're going to plan on doing a study session on one of the board's key items with the Code of Ethics. And so that study session is just going to be a brief brainstorming session in terms of different codes that are out there, but more importantly, what does a process look like in terms of a complaint and how to handle that complaint. So I think we'll have 3 or 4 different options to talk through and really just get the board's feedback and input, so then our team can go away and build something that the board can adopt later on into the fall. And then the last piece is we will have the town hall, the telephone town hall rescheduled probably in September, October. We're looking at dates, but still an opportunity to engage in that within the budget process and just to experience to see if that's something that we want to continue into the future. So with that, if there's any questions with the admin report, I'm happy to take those.
Ryan, I'm wondering if, so I really love the app feedback or the analytics from the app. I see the categories, which I really appreciate and will help us understand kind of what residents and guests are using the app for. Can we, maybe not on a monthly basis, but can we get a more granular report on what the issue itself was that they were reporting? I appreciate the departments, but because, let's say we get similar requests and maybe are we not addressing it soon enough, or is there an escalation step that we're missing? I think we could probably understand that better if we knew how often someone was reporting on a specific thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get, we can dive down into additional information. In addition to that, with the budget process, I do think it will be valuable to see if there's something particular, like if it's pothole maintenance or something, if that seems to be a reoccurring thing. Well, what would it cost to fix it based upon how much is it costing by going out, so many times per week or month and fixing that? Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Please. Especially those areas that we just got all that great feedback from the community on infrastructure, especially pothole maintenance is a good example of that. where are we seeing the problems from pothole maintenance, and that would be helpful. Thank you. Any other questions for Brian?
I guess I do, sorry, I do have a question. So, if we receive an email complaint or that should really be kind of entered into the app, then do you want to just send that to you, or is there someone on your team that you want us to send it to?
Yeah, I think for now, just send it to me, Renee, Megan. I think the key thing is, yeah, just send it over. Even if you address it or communicate with the resident, at least we can capture that into the system. And I think it gives us much broader data and information. So absolutely, that would be great.
That sounds good. Thank you. Megan, do you want to share your staff report?
Mayor Kreitz and members of the board, in your email was the town clerk's report. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I do want to point out that we are still heavy into peddler solicitor time, and we're working very closely with Chief's team to make sure that we're communicating who is licensed and who isn't. We're starting to see some of those citations coming into the municipal court, so we are out and making sure that our residents are having licensed individuals that have the proper bond paperwork coming to their door, and not unlicensed individuals. But I think with the weather that we've been having, we're probably going to continue to kind of have that. And then also just the Tyler software transition. It's taking up a lot of the clerk's office's time. It's going to be worth it in the end. I'm very excited about it, but a lot of work still ahead, and that's kind of what half of the team is focusing on right now. The other half of the team is focusing on just continuing regular operations.
I'm curious on the peddler solicitation. Is that something you would be able to share with us, in total through seasons, how many requests you've had? I mean, I appreciate the monthly report, but even just hail season, for example, or summer, or if you want to, however you want to break it down, just understanding in a 3-month quarter, we had 150 applicants and things like that. Because I think I think maybe our inspection team is feeling some of this pressure too. I received some requests from some organizations and businesses who wish that we are more expedited in our business licenses or our solicitation to allow them to practice business here. But I don't have any idea or a better pulse on the community that do we need more? Do we need to open that up more? Do we need to allocate or dedicate resources to allow more of that? Or do we need more enforcement on what we already have? I don't have a strong understanding of where that sits. So maybe those are combined efforts for both of those problems.
Yeah, I think that there are two different license types for peddler, solicitor, and business licensing. And so I think one of the data points that we can provide you is not just how many we've issued, but actually how many communications that we've had.
Oh.
Because when it is hail season and we do have a hail event, we have a very unique door-to-door sales license process and application. We require that bond. And what tends to happen is the individuals hear that we require that, and we never hear from them again, and then I see them in municipal court. And so part of, I think, the data to show all of you is, here's how many contacts we had. Here's how many licenses resulted from those contacts. And then on the other end, here's how many violations that we've seen. Because we also try to communicate with our police department. We've talked to this person or this company. They know our rules. So they probably don't deserve a warning at this point because they are being unsafe in our community.
Yeah, I would love to know all those things. And maybe where the business is located, headquartered, whether it's local or out of state. I mean, I know that's happening.
Oh, very much so. Most of ours are out of state.
Okay. Is that a seasonal type report, you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think maybe we get like one or two sort of in the fall season, and those are our locals. Everything is really driven by whether we have a weather event.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I'd appreciate, and the board certainly let me know if you disagree, but leaving that timeline up to your prerogative, I would be interested to know the information.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Megan? Have the Arts Commission had a chance to see the carvings? And
Yeah, we did. I was gonna talk about that later.
okay, that's in your trustee reports. Awesome. Great. Anything else? Okay, thank you, Megan. And Brian. Okay, we'll move into our consent agenda. Our consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and vote. There will be no separate discussion of consent agenda items unless a board member so requests, in which case the item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered at the end of the consent agenda. You have one item, a list of bills. Would anyone like to remove that for discussion or provide some direction on your consent agenda this evening?
Mayor, I move that the consent agenda be accepted as is. Second.
Motion and a second. Trustee Padilla?
Yes.
Trustee Tavelde?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Trustee Mayhem?
Yes.
Trustee Lamont?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
We'll move right into action. Agenda item B, please.
Mayor Kites and members of the board, tonight you have the opportunity to appoint 3 new members to the Frederick Youth Commission. We conducted interviews at the beginning of the month with all of the applicants on July 7th. Trustee Padilla was available, and staff and the team, and Trustee Padilla is recommending appointment of Annie Myers, Troy Masinger, and Peyton Rhodes. Both Annie and Troy are here, and I would love for them to come up and chat with you, but I also wanted to give Trustee Padilla opportunity to share her thoughts on the interviews.
Yeah, thank you. And these just are amazing human beings who just are going to change the world. And we just can't thank them enough for being involved in the youth commission. It's kind of humbling to interview teenagers who are way better than I was when I was a teenager. And so I think I also appreciate the board support to open it up to people with a connection to Frederick, because it really has opened up our applicant pool, and I know we have more applications and more on the way. So
Hi.
Let's introduce. I'm Troy Meisinger.
I'm Annie Myers.
Meet you. Yeah,
Nice to meet you guys.
thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Are we making you nervous?
Slightly.
Okay, okay. Well, why are you excited about being on the youth commission in Frederick? What made you interested in joining this opportunity?
Just be involved. Just get a foot in to things like this.
I think for me, it's kind of learning about exactly how it works so that I can kind of, be able to actually tell information to people when they ask me questions about how it works.
Annie said during the recess that she appreciated the different perspectives that we talk about. So that's already on day 1. Look at that. I love it. Y'all have any questions? Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
We talked about last time, really quick, kind of how this is new for the town of Frederick. We had a youth commission in the past, and we wanted to bring it back because you all and your demographic have very important things to say, and we want to hear from you how you want Frederick to look and feel. But how do you want the relationship with us to look? Do you want us to ask you projects to work on? Do you want to bring projects to us to consider? How would you like to proceed with a relationship with the board?
Probably both.
Yeah.
Just two-way street.
Okay.
I feel like it's easier to connect with youth, but it's also important that you have that steady hand of guidance too, because as we're new, we don't exactly understand what we're doing.
We'll give and take. Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate it. thank you for wanting to serve our community. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Mayor, I would note that Peyton is not here. She is actually out of town. And so Anthony and I both are working on those youth commissioners that you do appoint, making sure that you have opportunity to meet them and have them come in. So we're working on that, and we're working on bringing you 2 more for interviews.
Okay. That's great. Wonderful. Okay. Some direction on item B would be helpful if there's no questions. Thank you both. It's nice to meet you.
Madam Mayor, I move that we appoint Annie Myers, Troy Meisinger, and Peyton Rhodes to the Frederick Youth Commission.
Second.
Trustee Mahan?
Yes.
Trustee Lamont?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Padilla?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Trustee Tavelty?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Padilla and Megan, and I know Trustee Brown, you're heavily involved in that. Thank you all for taking the extra time to work with them and visit with them and share with them what this opportunity is. I appreciate it. Time well served. Someone,
Bearing fruit.
yeah. Well, we already scared one away. So, great record so far. All right, item C, please. Hi, Allie.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. Within your packet this evening, you'll see a request to table the Silverstone Marketplace Final Development Plan and Preliminary and Final Plat to the August 8th, 2023 meeting. The applicant and staff have worked extremely hard on an expedited timeline to bring this item to you with every detail finalized. And actually, I'd love to give credit to my staff, especially Autumn. He's really done a fantastic job, and I'm thankful for him every day. But we need a little more time. The board may choose whether or not to table the item. If you table the item to a date certain, we do not need to renotice per our land use code. Staff does seek direction from the board on Resolution 23R27, which is the request to table. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
So does the approving it of it have to have a date associated with it to get out of that? Is that what you're asking for? What? Oh, it's just not on here.
Correct, yeah,
If you approve Resolution 23R27, the body of that resolution as drafted tables it to the August 8th meeting.
There's no concerns with the application itself. There's just more time to follow the process appropriately, correct?
Correct, Mayor. It's a very complicated development agreement, if you can imagine. So we need a little more time on that.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to recommend approval of Resolution 23R27, continuing the public meeting on consideration of the Silverstone Marketplace Final Development Plan and Preliminary Final Plat to August the 8th.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I ask your opinion? If tabling it without publicly noticing it is what is approved, do you feel that your team has ample voice from the community on this development between the Planning Commission and the neighborhood meetings that you all have had and all that consideration? You have enough. You have a strong Frederick voice on what this development can and should be at this point without renoticing.
Mayor, we've gotten a lot of commentary on this project. It's been wonderful because we struggle with that sometimes. I would say that 95% of it has been completely positive. So I feel comfortable with it. We have no issue in renoticing it if you all would like. It's just not a code requirement.
So Mayor, I did want to let you know that I did get a communication, just in the last 5 minutes from a resident who had some confusion, couldn't seem to access the link, and was inquiring as to wanting to be present to watch because their notice said tonight. I did respond to them and let them know that it wasn't on for this evening and when the date was. But the public, at least one member of the public, has looked at that notice and is looking for further information. So if the board wishes for us to renotice, we absolutely can do that.
I would prefer that the resolution have that request or condition that we renotice. Are you comfortable with that in the motion?
Sure. Absolutely.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Mark, are you comfortable with that?
Trustee Lamont?
Fine. I'm fine, Madam Mayor.
I know that's extra work, but I appreciate that. Just follow process.
Yep, not a problem.
Ended? Yes?
Got it. Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Padilla?
Yes.
Trustee Lamont?
Yes.
Trustee Taveldi?
Yes.
Trustee Mahan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
To Ally
Thanks, Ally.
and Autumn. Okay, item D.
Mayor Kreitz and members of the board, this is a continuation of some of the discussion that we had in work session. And so for the public, I just want to give a brief overview of the process and the steps we are in the process, just for that public communication. So the resolution you have in front of you would authorize me as the town clerk to reserve space on the November Weld County Coordinated Election ballot. What this does is it just reserves space. This is by no means you moving forward with a ballot question at this time. All this does is says we might have something, we're not sure, we're still studying, we're still getting feedback from the community and exploring the opportunity. There is another step in this process prior to this board moving forward with a ballot initiative. That step is the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with Weld County that would outline the duties of myself as the designated election official, as well as Weld County, and outline what the costs would be. Approval of that would happen at the end of August if the board is still moving forward in their discovery phase with the community, and that by no means locks us into a ballot question either. The final date would be the September 5th, 2023 board meeting, which you would have to call a special meeting for that. And at that time, you could consider adoption of a ballot question because the deadline is September 8th in order to submit that ballot question as certified to the county. So once again, first step of 3 steps. This by no means locks you into a ballot question and just gives you more opportunity to explore your options. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We discussed this during work session. You all comfortable with what you know, and need any clarity on the steps or potential steps moving after this meeting?
Nope.
All right, some direction on item D would be helpful, please.
Mayor Kreitz, I'd like to recommend approval of Resolution 23R28, authorizing the town clerk to reserve space on the November Weld County Coordinated Election ballot.
Second.
Trustee Taveldi?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Trustee Mahan?
Yes.
Trustee Padilla?
Yes.
Trustee Lamont?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that on the agenda today, all of you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, those were all of our action agenda items today. So we have trustee reports. Anyone have any items they'd like to share with the board and team today? Yep. Okay.
I had the absolute privilege of being able to work for a few hours at our chainsaws and chuck wagons event. And once again, it was awesome. Every time we have this, I'm just impressed more and more with our staff. Jessica hit it out of the park. Angela was wonderful. We had a lot of public participation. It was just amazing. Sarah Watson was there with some other people, members of the engineering staff. and Colby, is he around? Nope, he left. Anyway, they were there. Anyway, the point is it was awesome. It was great. It's a wonderful event. I had a person come over and talk to me for quite some time. They had just moved here to Frederick a year ago, and he and his wife were incredibly impressed with the fact that the town of Frederick did something like this.
Yeah.
And he talked to me for quite a while. I think Mark got in there and got the very end of him. But I got a chance to talk with people that came here from Wyoming. Some people came in from Nebraska, and it was really great. So just a big, huge thank you to everybody that was involved in this, because it's quite an effort, and it got pretty hot out there on Saturday. So, but it was fun. It was great, and thank you again to everybody that took place or that took part in this. It was great.
May I piggyback on that, Mayor Pro Tem? I also noticed the volunteers that we had. I mean, they were organized, well organized, knew what was going on, and just kept the crowd moving and flowing, answered their questions. I thought we had a great, exceptionally great group of volunteers, so I appreciate that. One thing I did notice is one time that I was there earlier in the afternoon, not with Mayor Pro Tem, but I saw some those not the hang gliders, but the motorized
Paragliders.
paragliders. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Adam's still mad about them from Frederick and Flight. Can you tell?
Yeah,
Hear it in his voice.
I saw them there flying while the crowd was in the area and the carvers were in the area, and I thought it was a little bit dicey, to say the least.
Dangerous of some sort.
Yes, they're not. So,
You know, there are FAA regulations. Before I got on the board, I filed a complaint with them about those people, and they're getting to the point now that they're out there every Saturday and Sunday morning at 6:30, 6:45, and they're not supposed to fly over homes, over any structures, nor are they supposed to fly over any dedicated highways. They're not supposed to really fly over any streets either. And they were doing pretty good there for a while, but now they're not. Now they're starting to get, there's more and more of them, and they're flying right over the top of our house on occasion.
they've been as far north as Moore Farm, the No Name Creek in that area, Bella Rosa. They've flown over the golf course and the lake over there too.
Well, I mean, if it's a safety concern, I think we should talk about addressing it. But
And I'm worried about them for next year when we introduce chainsaw juggling.
yes, that is.
That's
I'm
true.
really glad you're proactive in that process. Yeah.
Couldn't resist. I'll jump in while we're still talking about chainsaws and chuck wagons. I just got the report from Megan. Because some of you were curious, I was curious too, what we have actually acquired this year. So of the 10 items that were carved, we have 5 of them. And the 5 that we picked up are fishtail, which I believe is the 2 eagles fighting over the fish. No, that's food fight.
Fight,
Fishtail was,
They were jumping into the bowl, maybe?
yes, where they were jumping into the bowl.
that was
Fishtail
cool.
was that. Food fight with the 2 eagles. Eagle and wolf and bears was kind of that totem pole looking item. I'm sad, only in a small way, that we lost the Mr. Teddy, the bear with the flower, but he is going to be at STAP.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's still going to be in Frederick. I'm glad he's here, but he was one of my favorites. We did also acquire the Spirit of Halloween. That's going to be a cool one that we've got to wrap our heads. We've got some pretty cool ideas already of what to do with him, and then the last one is the music piece. Not sure of title yet. That we're also working on some cool cooperative ideas with that one. So we got 5 really good
That was
pieces.
cool.
And the other ones went to good homes. had some sold. All of our sponsors got good ones. So, yeah, I was able to get out there for an hour. I was like, I can't make an informed decision on these without seeing them up close. And it's one of my favorites. I'm hoping to, one of these years be in good health and be here the whole time for one of them. It's working up to that. But yeah, it's an amazing event. And I love how it grows every year. It's gotten bigger every year. And yeah, that hour that I was there, the volunteers that we had, I mean, they were just, you couldn't turn around without missing one. They were there and they were working hard. So kudos to them. There's a couple of the other things I wanted to bring up. Number one, just on the youth commission, it's really exciting. We've got one interview for sure on Friday. We've got a few more that we're trying to get a hold of, but we're up to 5 right now. And moving forward, I 100% agree with Trustee Padilla that opening it up to the towns surrounding us, because they all have an investment here, is going to be a big deal. And the kids that have been coming from those areas are excited to have something to be a part of that. So I think it's a leading the way of connecting our communities at a young age, get them started young, and maybe build through some of the cooperation issues that we run into from time to time. But that's going well. So we've got an interview this Friday, and I know that we're trying to get those last couple in that have applied. And then when school starts up, I think we'll be able to get a few more people, especially when that news spreads that they don't just have to live in Frederick. So I'm excited about that. While I was out of town for 4th of July, I saw several people posting about some of the frustrations with the parade stuff, which I'm sure you guys probably talked about. And even if not, I contacted some of those people and said, listen, we're not doing this against each other, despite, as like, both of the reasons for doing it is good, but you're right, we need to see more cooperative things. And I don't know the best way to do it, but I'd love to see some kind of cooperative multi-town or area event that, even if it's us leading the way, but inviting people and making it, I think that's a good way forward. Like I said, the connection that we have with our youth, not limiting it to just Frederick, is going to be a good stepping stone to connecting the communities more. And events seem to be great things that people love to come out to. Our events out here are not slight or smallly attended, so I think it'd be great if we can find a way to do that, and it might be a great challenge towards Jessica and Angie and their department to kind of figure out what that looks like. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything major, but just I know we're all friends across friendships don't really care about that as much as the intergovernmental stuff, and I think we've just got to find a way to capitalize on those and draw our communities together. But yeah, I reached out to those people and said, hey, here's what you need to know. No one's mad at each other. It's convenient, and it's helpful when you don't have to try to go through awkward, weird areas that are between our stuff without bringing up another area's name. That one. Without mentioning their name. But yeah, so I think that's good. And then lastly, just a thank you to everybody for the support, the outreach, the love. Autumn and I really appreciate that. It's helped a lot in the recovery phase, so I appreciate that, and it's really good to see you guys in person and be back.
Yeah. I definitely thought you'd come back with like a different color hair.
No, all the blue's gone now.
Yeah.
Boring.
We're happy to have you back. I'm glad you're doing better. Yeah. Thank you for those updates.
I have a question. Are the rules for weed control similar to snow removal as far as who's responsible for what areas?
Yeah, there's Trustee Mayhem and Mayor. There's private property and public, but we know that on our end. So, but yeah, we should be enforcing that, and we are kind of or going to be down a CSO. I believe one is public. They're moving forward in the academy, the police academy that the town sponsors. So, but yeah, we can absolutely. There are areas where it's private and we have to enforce it on the code side, and then there's areas that is public, and we need to take care of that as well. So
Extra rain, those things. There's some spots where they're like as tall as I am. It's nuts, but so just curious. But I do know that there's some areas that are I know the residents are responsible for. But it's just like with the snow, it's hard for us to enforce that if we're not keeping our own house in order. And then the other one, just at the last tour and talk, got some more good feedback on the app, and really more good feedback on staff and their communication through when there was I don't know if I'll call it a complaint, but it's a submission, and it took some time because of, I think the resident said there was a part that had to be ordered for whatever the issue was. And he said it took about 30 days, and we were like, uh-oh. And he said, no, it was great because they communicated with me the entire time, all the way through resolution. So he knew what was going on. So more kudos to staff on that, because it's one thing that we have a tool, but it's another thing that we are actually using it and following up and, making sure that we're doing our part as well. So that was great to hear, and I expected nothing less, but it is always nice to get that feedback. So well done.
I do not have much. I second the stuff with the chainsaws. I only got to be there when it was kind of raining and windy at the end, but it still was a great event. And apologies for last minute work trip that I had to go on, but anyway, I just, again, at that event, not one negative thing. I just feel like this is consistent everywhere I go, that people are only talking about how much they like the fact that we are communicating, that we give a hoot about what they think before we do stuff. So I feel like our efforts are being heard. But maybe they're just being nice to us because we know them, but they're still peripheral people that I know. So anyway, just lots of good stuff. That's all I have.
I was able to attend just to not work at all, but have fun, which is probably not nice of me, but I'd second that. And I think between me and Sarah Watson, we convinced my husband to apply for the turf replacement program next year. And so that was pretty fun. And I wanted to thank the town for sending for us to have the opportunity to go to the Colorado Municipal League conference. I was able to go. It was my first one. And just wanted to share, I attended a session on housing where 3 different Habitat for Humanities from across the state presented on their partnership with churches, cities, towns, developers. And we heard a really moving story about a policeman in Avon who could not afford to buy a house in Avon, and so was contemplating moving his family out of the community. And so their Habitat for Humanity partnered with the town, and he's now in housing and staying in his community. Now, obviously, that made me think you need to pay your police officers more. However, at the state, we're also exploring building housing for our employees just in some of these communities. There was an undercurrent of state versus local that was awkward for me a little bit at CML, but very understandable. But it really drove home that people in our own community can benefit from a mix of housing. The people that can benefit are from Frederick, they're not from somewhere else. And that, we have our comprehensive plan that we're working on. We have really great expertise on our planning commission. And I think we're doing it right by getting input from the community. So I'm excited to see where we can go. But it was just great to get to see, really have that discussion where it's not the only solution, but it was definitely, here's something that's tangible that we could potentially explore, and with our comprehensive plan coming out, we can take action. So thanks for sending me.
We talked briefly about employee housing or workforce housing. Yeah.
Yes, and Mayor and Trustee Padilla, we have already had a preliminary meeting with Habitat for Humanity, and they actually offer a product geared towards workforce housing. So we're exploring that. There's some good product out there that we're looking at. Perfect timing.
Thank you. I have 2 quick ones. Just thank you to those certainly thank you for the event. Chainsaws and Chuck Wagons is just great to see. It's kind of fun to see social posts or just friends texting you pictures of their favorites. It's just kind of a nice bonding experience. So even those that didn't gather kind of virtually gathered and communicated about the event. So I love that opportunity. So that's just a blessing to the community that we do those types of events. Personal thank you to Dan and Brian, who took my shift this last weekend so I could help my little lady. So thank you for that. On the kind of, I guess, more complaint note, I got an email from a resident who lives in downtown. I'll spare all of the details because really I think what we need to request of staff, or what I'm asking you all for your support on, is kind of how development had been addressed in the past is very different than how it is now, and I'm grateful for that, that things have changed, and our planning department is very involved, and certainly holds developers and developments accountable for the greater good of the town of Frederick. So, for example, requiring neighborhood meetings, requiring just more than just the basic admin participation in issuing acceptance of buildings and permits and things like that. So what happened is a resident in downtown has a building behind her home or their family home that is very tall and has windows that look directly into her backyard. And she feels very violated and expressed that to me in an email that included photos, and she simply asked for help. She didn't say, whose fault is this? What are you going to do, from here on out? She said, just help me understand what I can do for myself. She didn't say, please come pay for the privacy. She said, I don't know what to do because I don't know how to fix this. And I feel uncomfortable that this is now my problem, and I'm worried about my safety, and I don't feel good in my own home. I've been here for many years. So I would like, while I know the response, that is something that nobody participating on our team was responsible for, why that happened in the first place. I would like to find a solution for her, or ask staff to work with her and figure out what a solution to that could look like. Whether that's help getting her and her family some privacy, whether we explore, financially helping. Maybe at some point she might need a fence variance from all of you so that she can have a taller fence to protect her privacy from a building that quite simply is encroaching her personal space. So I don't know what that looks like, other than asking for your support and asking staff to look into that and how we can help that family. And thank you for holding those neighborhood meetings.
Absolutely, Mayor and members of the board. I think we can engage with the resident and just look at what some solutions are, and perhaps come back to the board with what that looks like.
I mean, I'd like a response to her too, and I don't want the response to be, sorry, we didn't follow process before. I am sorry we didn't follow process before, but I don't want that to be the response. I think we're better now, and we can talk about how we're better now, but let's see if we can at least provide some relief for her. Please. And then we all just received an email about a road, County Road 5 and 16 and a half. Would you, because you know kind of where that's at, Brian, would you share an update on that?
Yeah, Mayor, members of the board, we actually engaged on weekly conversations with the members out there. Our team is out there every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks grading the road. And so if it's not the grading of the road that's a problem, which that can be difficult, then it's the dust. And then we've also provided solutions for the dust. We've applied mag chloride, which then we also have received some complaints in regards to that hurting the vehicle. So it is a difficult situation in terms of it is a larger stretch road. Certainly, Weld County is responsible for a certain section of that road. And our team is out there driving it regularly, not just once a month. It's probably pretty much every week. The Public Works team is also, we've met with a number of these members. I think we've 3 or 4 times. I know that their immediate responses they want a paved road out there. We're looking at the public works team has met on site with a contractor. So and we're going to include that in the budget as an option if we were to look at doing some type of temporary rehabilitation to that road. I think there's two issues. There's drainage. There is no drainage on that road. And then there are some innovative things out there in the industry in terms of reducing the maintenance of paving or grading it. And so like perhaps the Colorado Boulevard mill and overlay, so putting some of that stuff down there, it's just a temporary fix. It probably get you through about a year of reduced maintenance. There's chemicals that would adhere that together, but in order to do that, you've got to have probably the road elevated a little bit. So we'll have all of that in the budget process in terms of what we want to consider. We also have done traffic counts on there, so we know, and we'll do a second count in the fall. We did one in the spring. We've shared that with the residents. The other piece of that is development is triggered. I think it's in the developer agreement. I think it's 11 permits in order for it to trigger some type of improvement to that road. I think they've pulled 3 or no more than 4, so that's still quite a ways down the road. So we've been looking at number of options. I know that their bottom line is really just a paved road, but again, trying to consider that with some of the other things. And so we'll have options in the budget in terms of if we can't pave it, perhaps 3 or 4 options of what we can do to maintain it the best way that we can. There's also some potential development that hasn't with Erie that could trigger some additional improvements. Perhaps, I don't know the time frame of that and what that would look like. It could be way later down the road, but we are engaged with the residents and communicating the best way that we can. It just seems like if it's grading, then the next day it's dust, or trying to maintain and balance both of those things. So we definitely are engaged with them.
And the truck traffic that they mentioned is development. It's not coming from a industrial or a commercial business. It's not those kind of trucks, or is it that as well?
It's a mix of both, and we've got the analytics on that. At least the initial one, I think there was somewhere about 500 trips back in, I think we did it in April. I don't remember the percentage, but it seemed like there's 30-some% was trucks, and then the other was just general traffic on that road of residents that live there. So
it feels like the trucks could be problematic to paving too. Then you have that other option of their trucks destroying the road, like we've had with that trouble of Bella Rosa coming from the west side to the east side under
yes.
the overpass.
And I will say there's some good news on that. We do have some team members, and particularly in the police department, as well as engineering. We have an officer who is trained in enforcement of that. So we are on the cusp. We will probably have it here within the next 30 or 60 days at the latest, where we can at least have an interim program where we're going to look at our fees, at least in the short term, to bring them up to par until we get the study done. And then we have the skill set from an internal aspect to enforce that. So, and part of that is certification with CDOT. But we're moving on that front as well.
Okay. And yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't want to go off topic on that, but I mean, that is a concern because frequently coming from Highway 119 over to this side of town, I'll watch those trucks come out of developments that are over in Fire Center. Instead of going up 119 at the interstate, they come all the way through town to go through 52 for whatever reason, probably traffic, but I mean, that's just more heavy trucks on our roads that are tearing up that we're not seeing compensation for, if that's even a thing. It's concerning. It's part of the reason we have the dips and potholes that we have.
Yeah, we've talked about that, kind of the weight of trucks and fees and things like that. Sounds like we're addressing all of that during budget season, or steps in that direction. Okay. I mean, I think Chad brings up, this resident brings up a valid point in that, I mean, I realize he's asking for it to be paved, and in no way am I supporting that. It's interesting how the county will pick and choose some of those roads to go pave, yet they're not literally parallel, but even in philosophy parallel to what we're doing. And so maybe is there a conversation to be had with Weld County to say, hey, you're not helping us here, and this is not a community partnership, but you all are rolling the dice and picking and choosing which roads you're paving. Or if not, if there's more sophistication than that, how come they're not talking to us about it? How come engineering isn't part of that conversation, and which roads only get paved half of while we're left with the mess, and we're not even 5 years from paving it? So the timing between the county and ourselves seems off.
Yeah, and I know our public works team has been working with trying to understand how Weld County's dirt roads look different than Frederick's. And I know that there is a conversation going on there. They've also brought up Adams County gravel road program, which is they have 1,700 lane miles of gravel roads, and they've brought in some assessment in terms of the current condition of that road in terms of the amount of travel is actually pretty good, but what we could do and what it would cost to just keep it dirt, but just to raise it up another level and what that would look like. Absolutely.
Okay. That's encouraging. Thank you. For now, you all choose what you'd like to in response, but I feel like we're still gathering data and a better understanding of the situation. So, okay.
It wasn't me.
Not you, Chad? Yeah, sorry, I should have clarified. Okay, any other, yes?
There was one more thing. Next week is National Night Out. Do we have any, I know that there were some emails that have gone around. Do we have any definitive or follow-up plans on visiting other communities other than our own, or I wanted to raise that question.
Hey, Renee, she's
I
got it
feel
covered.
Out of the loop.
We were going to match up members of the board with leadership so that we can be sure that we're covering all of the different meeting places throughout the town. And so right now we've heard from Mayor Pro Tem and Mayor Kreitz. We just need to hear from the rest of the board to see who would be available that night. We can match up, okay?
Here it is. Instant feedback.
I'm out of town, so I cannot do it.
What are the times? I'll be available. Yeah.
And then I was going to remind leadership, we have a meeting tomorrow afternoon, who would be available and then match them up and give you those assignments. So further communications are coming in.
And I think all of us live, at least amongst the 7 of us here, live in different communities, so we'd be able to have our community as part of that as well as other ones if they are doing something. Okay.
It's like a stop, right? You just like parade.
Because we're not doing all of them, like we're dividing up who's going where. Is that the thought process? We'll divide up who's going where, or we'll all go to everything but at different times? I'm just curious.
You'll be divided up so that everybody is going different places. There might be some overlap depending on how much participation we have. Because do we have 6 at this point?
6 or 7. Or 7.
Not
I'm
us,
looking
them.
at it right now.
Oh. What do you see?
I'm probably available too. I'll send you an email.
I could Zoom if that's.
Carry an iPad around for you.
You need to get one of those little robots that has the iPad on it that just goes.
Yeah, nice.
Kinda like Sheldon.
Fancy.
It's like Sheldon.
Okay, good clarity on that. Thank you. Anything else? No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your time.
Yep.
Be adjourned. Please. Break. How you feel about those paragliders?
Questions answered.
I can't stand them. Part of me wants to be them.
Early
It looks
September.
like so much fun, but then the other part of me is
Oh,
just
how
like,
I love deadlines.
I wouldn't be an asshole if they're being.
Yeah, I do think they're all about attention. Is the thing. They love when people.
Kinda meant to be
They
out,
do
way out
kind
in
of
the
like
country.
bomb people. It's ridiculous.
They're always out there every year for graduation, flying around and